Okay, hey, I'm with filmmaker Ryan J. Smith. Thank you for coming on to get for this interview. I reviewed two of your films, both your features, Talking to Ghosts and Lottery, and I'm just glad you kind of came on board here to talk about that. I want to talk specifically about indie filmmaking and more specifically about British indie filmmaking. So, yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for inviting me on the show.
All right, so I just briefly, I was looking at my reviews of Talking to Ghosts. I wrote, after a devastating loss, a young woman tries to snap back into reality through a dangerous arms deal. And then in the Lottery, questions how far one would go to escape poverty and save the girl at the end. Um, yeah, so it's kind of like this is in Talking to Ghosts. I kind of mentioned this is a very British film. In the sense that I think here in America we tend to take thriller ideas like this and just kind of feel the need to elevate it in whether it's through music, through sound, through just kind of playing around with the audience like that. And I always felt like British films, they just kind of go with the authenticity of the story. And plays up more of the dramatic side of things, which I think your films do. It leans They're a thriller by nature, but they lean toward the dramatic. What is kind of your approach to your films?
That's an interesting one because I remember when the review for Talking to Ghosts came through, and it was part of the review was like this. It's a very British thriller because, like you say, like in America, like American thrillers are very like hyper stylish and things like that. And the sort of irony with that is compared to when we were shooting Lottery, like when we were shooting Talking to Ghosts and editing it, I thought we were pushing the style of it a lot further than like we did on Lottery. Like it's like like a lot of like cine soft filters and like just everything's kind of very dreamy and like abstract compared to Lottery,
and extreme camera angles and
yeah, just like a lot of like deep focus stuff and slow motion and just like everything we didn't do on Lottery. It was like you just wanted to do the complete opposite of like the previous movie you've done. And then then the reviews started coming in, and like all the American reviews are like, it's a very British thriller because it's very like quiet and understated. And I think that's the thing. I think it's just a British mentality as well of kind of like horror for me personally. Like it's not kind of like big scares. It's just what makes you feel a bit uncomfortable. If that makes sense. And I think with thrillers, it's a similar thing. It's like I'm kind of it's a thriller like genre, on like Amazon or whatever, but it's more of just like a kind of weird drama with thriller elements in there. Like there's weapons and there's threat, and stuff. But yeah, Talking to Ghosts is weird. It's not a straight thriller. There's like weird, bifurcations in there.
Yeah, I mean, how do the British kind of look at American thrillers, action thrillers, and just kind of the hyper stylized action? And go ahead.
We look at them in 4K. That's how we look at them. But no, we do. It's I think the American movies like over here, like we see them more like popcorny kind of stuff, which isn't a bad thing. I think that gets like bad connotations, but it's like, to be honest with you, they're the only movies I really enjoy watching. Like, I'm on an Adam Sandler binge at the moment. So like, so like again with like comedies, like American comedies are completely different to British comedies. And I think when I'm done, like, making my kind of British understated movies, it's like, I just want to watch things go boom. And like, I think there's a more gung-ho kind of large scale sort of approach to filmmaking on the American side of the spectrum. I think whereas with British, I think just the British film industry in general and stuff, it's so sort of impenetrable that independent films, by definition of like how they're made, you kind of have to be understated and so. But for me, with my company, like after 2 movies now, like we're starting to like break through the atmosphere of having to be like understated and gritty and realistic. So like we have more American style kind of thrillers and action movies in development. And like the next movie we're prepping to shoot in the spring is like a kind of nostalgic, like family comedy kind of movie, and like it's going to be very like larger than life and things. So yeah, but then that's just me as a filmmaker as well. I want to do kind of a bit of everything. You know, I don't want to just do a thriller or just do a drama sort of thing. You know.
So let me ask you, how did you get to this point? I mean, like I think, you know, I think I'm pretty spot on that you're very much an indie filmmaker, and you've probably gone maybe the traditional route that many American filmmakers go, and that's just, you know, I have a story and and you just make it. I would assume that's kind of your similar story as well. How did you get to this point?
Yes, I grew up making movies. Like I didn't do anything else kind of like as a hobby as a kid. I mean, I'm 25 now, so I've been doing this. I've been making movies for like the better part of 20 years now, I'd say. Like, you know, there was always cameras and like stuff in the family that I was playing with. And yeah, I remember my film school application when I was 17 years old was I didn't apply kind of through the correct like forums to film school. I sent them 13 short films, a feature film, and a music video just in like a folder, and just I just dumped it on them and said like, I'm serious, you know. And they came back a few weeks later and they were like, okay, yeah, we get it, like you're in, sort of thing. You know, and I had some like money knocked off the tuition fees as well, because I couldn't afford film school, because I'm from like a working class, you know, town. And again, I think that's kind of the thing with this movie, these movies, sorry, in the company, is it's trying to just kind of show to people that you really don't need a lot to make movies of a quality that, like, you know, Plex and Tubi and Apple and Amazon and all these like streaming services, like, you know, represent and, you know, consider good enough to put on their channels. And you can earn a living through making like independent films, on your filmmaking on your terms. And that's kind of always been my thing. And so then I went to film school for 2 years in London, and just worked my butt off and just made as many movies as I could. And I left film school with like, you know, 3 short films and 2 feature films. And then that led me on to get a publicist who, by the time I made the first film, which was Lottery, which I made just after the pandemic, you know, she helped me like, you know, get PR and get out there and like introduce me to, you know, people like, you know, you guys at Film Threat, and, you know, just push the boat out in terms of like, okay, you're a filmmaker, but now like people need to see it, you know, and they need to see you and like the brand and all that. And yeah, and then we rolled straight after that into Talking to Ghosts, and that's out now on Amazon and Apple. And yeah, we're prepping the next one. So that's my journey. It's just I kind of haven't done anything else. I did a bit of drumming when I was a kid, but like that's it. I don't do anything else. I just make movies.
Yeah, so you don't have a real job then?
No, not anymore. I used to have a lot of like, you know, crap day jobs and stuff, but I've managed to kind of like put all that on the back burner and just focus on making movies, which again, like you can make stuff for cheap and get them out there on streaming services and get paid. You know, there's kind of no excuse anymore filmmaking wise, which, you know, that's exciting to me. And I'm just trying to like show other people that, you know, it doesn't take, like if I can do it, because I'm not particularly smart. I'm not a very smart guy. So it's like, if I can figure it out, then, you know, I have faith in other people.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we tell filmmakers today, especially indie filmmakers, is that maybe Hollywood isn't necessarily the goal. Maybe at the end of your career, you don't need to have made a big Hollywood film, because there's a lot of strings attached to that. Also, it's like the lottery where, you know, only the few get in, and that maybe, you know, you're better off telling your stories and staying away from the big money, so to speak. Is that kind of similar in England, or I mean, ultimately, what is your goal? Is it to get into, you know, the big multi-million-dollar productions, or you know, or is the small indie still viable?
I mean, never say never. Like
Yeah.
if I get approached by like a, you know, another company that wants to like partner on a bigger, you know, budgeted movie, then like fair enough, I'll
Yeah,
consider it.
you're not going to
But
say no to a couple
no, I
million.
would say, you know, show me the money, like, and we'll talk. But like, um, no, my kind of goal is just to kind of keep building the Skin, which is my like, you know, studio effectively, because we like finance the movies, we develop them and produce them, and then get them out on streaming platforms. So we're kind of doing everything without any middlemen, which was my kind of goal and ambition. From that's always been my thing. Is this like I love making movies. I don't particularly love the film industry. So if I
Yeah.
can kind of create my own in a way and just, you know, create a kind of hub where my friends and I and myself, you know, can make stuff. Because that's why I'm fortunate that like, you know, my friends are all like, you know, like two of my best friends, like Lewis Willie Robinson and Adam Bentley, who've both worked on Lottery and Talking to Ghosts. They are like writer directors in themselves, and like they've got movies coming out. And you know, my best friend's a musician, so he does the music for everything. And like every time we do a movie together, he gets an album out of it. So it's like he loves it. Yeah, that's kind of my goal. Is just I want to, you know, just keep doing what I'm doing and get it to the degree that we just have this catalog of like, you know, entertainment coming out, whether it's documentaries or feature films or, you know, again, of different genres. Like, you know, we can do a big American style thriller and then we can do a little like British style thriller. Like, you know, we can do, I want to do a bit of everything.
Yeah, I mean, I have a friend who does that. Who basically he makes his movies, makes enough money off of it to fund the next movie, and just kind of keeps that cycle going. And you know, there's a big system that he's built underneath that to kind of support that system. And it sounds like that's what you're
Yeah.
building here. Yeah,
Yeah. It's a lot of fun as well. It is
yeah,
fun. And I get asked a lot by people like, you know, why don't you have more like crew members and on the shoots? And it's not that I can't afford to hire people, because I can and I do, but it's like I grew up, you know, as a stills photographer, and I've like photography's always been a big part of my life. So naturally, you know, I want to shoot the movies I direct and stuff. And you know, yeah, and like sound design is a big one, and editing and co-editing, you know. So like you kind of, if you're the one financing the film and like running, you know, the production of it, then you can kind of dip in and out of different areas and like different departments, you know, that you enjoy having a hand in as well. Not in a controlling way or anything. That's my big thing. Like, you know, if someone's got a better idea than me, it's like, go ahead and do it. Like, you know, the film's, it's our film, you know. But yeah, I just love the whole process too much. And again, that's kind of why it's like I love filmmaking, but I want to keep it to kind of how I was making movies when I was like 13, just like in the park with my mates, you know. I don't want to be bogged down in red tape for 6 months, you know.
Well, yeah, and there's something to be said about creative freedom, which you give away. Yeah, once someone comes in and writes you a big check, you give a little bit of your freedom away. And
I've started seeing that in my like little independent corner that I'm in, you know, like various like offers that I've turned down and stuff, where it's like, you know, there's a lot of sharks in the indie game. Which is something they don't teach you in film school, because that's something you have to experience, you know, for yourself, and you know, get a backbone and kind of know how to stand your ground, and you know,
yeah. So let me ask you about, you know, what is the British indie filmmaking scene like, the community? Is there? I spoke to a British filmmaker a couple weeks ago, and you know, he had a hard time kind of finding the community, and I'm wondering if you're experiencing the same thing. Is it the sense I got from him was that this is a small burgeoning community, and it's fairly new, but maybe you're in a different place.
yeah. No, I agree with that. I think it's mainly short films. If you do short films, like there is a massive British independent community for short films, like festivals and like filmmaker networking and all that kind of thing. Feature films is a completely different story. No one is making low budget, you know, independent features in the UK. There's like a handful, and the problem is, and again, it's what we don't teach you at film school is like marketing and the business side of things. So again, it's that thing of like, you can make a movie, but people have to see it and they have to know that it's a thing. So that's why like PR is so important, and that kind of thing. But yeah, no, I think a very strong short film community. We've got a lot of like independent short film festivals and stuff. And I've nothing against short films. I just kind of I want to kind of stay in features with the company at the moment. But yeah, feature films, the community is not massive because the festivals in the UK, they are, the sort of Academy Award qualifying ones, and that's kind of it. And so if you haven't got a star in your movie like that, you're not getting in anyway. So it's like, but again, that's kind of why I'm wanting to like create my own kind of community in a way, I guess, and just sort of, I don't know, I've opened the floodgate maybe for like other people who've got a little bit of money, maybe to be like, I can make a film and get it out there and do stuff.
Have you ever thought about because like films like yours, they tend to have an appeal in American film festivals. Has that been a thought at all? I'm not trying to give you any advice here, but I'm just curious.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about it for the next one, only because the next one it's going to be bigger than the previous two we've done, just in terms of like, not just length, but into like characters and kind of just stuff going on. Like it's going to be a big little film, which is a positive thing for us with the company as well. Is like we can see with every movie we're doing, there are things like the upwards trajectory. So like, Lottery was this running time and it had this many characters, and it looked and it sounded at this level, and then Talking to Ghosts was here, and then the next one's going to be here, and just keep going up. And the irony is Talking to Ghosts actually costs less money than Lottery. Like it cost, I think it was like in the final accounts, it was like £500 less than, which again, like these movies are only getting, like Lottery was £7,000 and Talking to Ghosts was like 6,500 ish. They're not expensive, and that's money that at the time I'd saved up through working the worst day jobs. I was a theatre technician. I was selling advertising for golf clubs. I was a photographer in a Botox clinic. That was a fun one. So like I was putting the hours in to make the movies. So yeah.
Just don't put on credit cards. The way we tell dude, don't get into debt for a film.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
And the one thing I appreciate about your films is, in terms of quality, you got the lighting down, you got good cameras and good actors. That's a great start, and that's a great foundation.
Thanks.
And did a lot of that come out of film school, or are you just that resourceful?
I think it's resourceful, to be honest with you. I mean, again, I'm kind of like, I went to film school, but I feel like I'm the anti-film school graduate. I'm not anti-film school because it gave me my lifelong friends and it opened a lot of doors, But it's more, I think, more just in terms of like the big crews and the sort of 2 years of like red tape, producing a project before you. I don't want that. I just want like me and a sound guy and some actors to just go and make stuff. Yeah, no, the lighting wise on Lottery, it was all natural light. Like there's not a single light in that film, which is hilarious because we won an award in a magazine called Pro Movie Maker in the UK for best lighting in a film. And
that's a talent.
It's the sun. It's the
natural
sun.
light. Yeah,
it's that big ball of gas over there. Just stand people in windows, so like they're all silhouetted, and people go, "Oh, it's so edgy,"
It's not easy to do. I'll tell you that.
No, it's either great or it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And then Talking to Ghosts was like, it was the same thing except we had a ring light. you know what, like, you know, makeup tutorial people have, and you can change the color of it and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of, and the camera was, I've got it here actually. The camera was literally this. So we shot Talking to Ghosts and Lottery on just Blackmagic Pocket Cine, which I got for £1,000 4 years ago. Now I think it's like £700. So, you know, in filmmaking terms, not expensive at all. It's just a case of, it's not what you've got, it's how you use it. And yeah, I think that's the thing with filmmaking. It's, you know, limitations are good things sometimes. Like, you know, we like, if you've not got enough lights to light something perfectly, it's like, you know, why not just do the scene in silhouette, or why not do, you know, I don't know, like creative escapes from, like, you know, logistical problems. You know, they're always fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I appreciate you chatting. The biggest reason I wanted to talk to you was just this idea of, you know, you have a story to tell. You know, if you want to become a filmmaker, you got to make your film, and that it's easier to do today than it has been in a very long time. And you know, and you're proof of that. You know, we got 2 features down. Where can we see Lottery and Talking to Ghosts?
Thanks. Lottery's on Plex and Tubi, and Talking to Ghosts is on Amazon Prime, Tubi, and Apple TV.
Yeah. Okay, I got it.
I almost forgot. Too many streaming services. Like, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, good luck to you. I appreciate you taking some time to talk with me.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
All right, thanks.
Always a pleasure.